How can you manage challenging family relationships like a blended family, balancing independence and dependence in marriage, or handling digital intrusions in your daily family life?
We'll discuss these questions from viewers today on Real Family Talk. Join us. It's time for Real Family Talk, your questions answered. During this episode, we are answering questions from viewers like you. Here's our first question.
I've been married for a few months to a wonderful, God-fearing woman who has two wonderful children. My first marriage ended in divorce, and looking back, I realized a big part of it was because I didn't fully understand how much I needed help to deal with my childhood trauma. Thankfully, I was helped through therapy and spiritual discipleship, which I will continue for a long time, because I know firsthand how damaging a toxic family environment can be, not just to a marriage, but especially to children. I really want to do things right this time. I'd really appreciate your thoughts on what I should be mindful of to give my second marriage the best chance of thriving, to make sure I don't end up hurting my wife or children. Wow.
Wow.
That's a mouthful.
That's a mouthful. But two things struck me first.
Yes.
One, it's a man.
It's a man.
And so I'm so excited about the fact that as a male who came out of a bad marriage or whatever happened in the marriage. Or a
bad divorce, yes.
Right, and had a divorce, is now willing to work on himself and to get therapy. So that was the second thing.
Already did get therapy before getting into a new relationship.
Right. And
because many times people get out of a marriage and go right into another marriage without examining what went wrong and what part did I have to play on what happened.
Right.
Because the first thing we usually do is say, if you could have only changed, our marriage would have been better. If you would have done this, our marriage would have worked. But because you didn't, I had to get out. And this man is admitting that he had something to do with the dissolution of his marriage.
Yes.
Self-awareness.
Yes.
So important if you're going to manage healthy family relationships.
Right. And it really doesn't matter who did what in the relationship. Everyone contributes something.
Indeed.
And I know people feel uncomfortable with that notion. It's like, oh, well, my wife cheated or my husband cheated or they walked away. Still, what did you contribute or how did you respond to that situation? So it's really important for every individual who comes out of a marriage, gets divorced, before going into another relationship, to spend some time really reflecting on who they are and what they bring to the relationship and how they bring themselves into the relationship.
And not only that, take the time to get some professional help. You know, get someone who's objective, someone who was not in the marriage, someone who is not related to you or related to your spouse or former spouse, someone who can use an educated lens to listen to what's happening to you, to listen to your feelings, your emotions, and see what has happened so that they can help you to zero in on what you can do differently next time. Because here's the reality about marriage and the reality about divorce. Let's just get this out there so everyone knows that if that first marriages have the highest probability of success. The more times you've been married, the higher your probability of divorce. So that if you've been married once, okay, the probability of divorce is so, but if you've married a second time, the probability of divorce gets higher. Every succeeding marriage makes it more difficult to remain married. It doesn't mean that your second marriage is not going to last. It doesn't mean it's not going to be successful. But on average, second marriages have higher levels of divorce than first marriages, and third marriages even higher levels of divorce.
Unless.
So for those of you who are not divorced, who are in your first marriage and having difficulty, I don't want you to think that if you just get out of this marriage and get into a new marriage, that is going to be the best thing for you. Not necessarily.
Right, and of course we're speaking in the absence
of abuse or
and
serial infidelity. That's right. No one wants to be in a marriage where their spouse is with everyone else or abusing you. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So we're saying that the second marriages have a higher probability of failing unless we're intentional about working on the things that are important, on our character, on making sure that we bring God into the relationship, that we are reflecting the image of God. And I think that's really important, especially for us as Christians, right? That we're making sure that we have the fruit of the Spirit. So now this person is specifically speaking about going into a blended marriage. And I would say the same thing. Now, there are two people who came out of a previous marriage with children.
With children.
And
at least one of them had children.
So they should definitely get premarital counseling. Don't ignore the importance. It's nice that one person got counseling, but both of them should go into counseling together. The other thing is that we like to call it blending families. And they really need to understand that there's going to be an adjustment period. There's going to be an adjustment period. Don't go in thinking that you're just going to become daddy to these children or mommy to these children, and they're just going to accept you as their new parent.
Your family can create resilient bonds that honor both their complex histories and hopeful futures. Though not directly addressing step families, Ellen White emphasized principles applicable to blended families dynamics, highlighting the importance of intentional relationship building. She wrote that love cannot long exist without expression. And she advocated patience in family relationships, noting that the home should be a place where cheerfulness, courtesy, and love abide. Her emphasis on spiritual unity provides blending families a foundation beyond biological connection.
Yeah, that's a great point that you made. And I also want to bring in Ron Deal, who is an expert on blending families. Pretty much all the work that he does is on blending families. And he says it takes 7 years for a family to really adjust to one another.
And gel together.
And unfortunately, many people fall apart before then because they're not giving themselves time because they feel that this should happen right away. And if it's not happening, then they're worried. Another point I want to make is that we're seeing now that upwards of almost 50% of all families are blended families. So it means that we really need to do a lot more work in this area because people are going into second marriages with children.
And I'd like to add that in our church communities, we need to be less judgmental. Forget about the fact that someone got divorced. They're now remarried. They're in a second marriage. Can we help them to make this marriage work? Can we not stigmatize their families and make them feel like somehow they're less than because they're in second marriages? Life happens. We live in an imperfect world. So the work of a spiritual community is to nurture people, regardless of what level or where they are in their process. So if we can just lower the ante on the stigma and speak about these families as if they exist because they do in all of our churches.
The church is a place for sinners, and we're all sinners.
Let's embrace them. Let's embrace them. Let's support them. And let's remind those who have gone into second marriages that it takes about 7 years for that adjustment. Give yourself time. Give yourself grace. Pray. And be patient with each other, and especially with the children.
So in blending families, children should be the central focus of care. Effective co-parenting requires consistent communication between parents, united disciplinary approaches while acknowledging different parenting styles. So it's really important for the parents to separate their conflicts from the parenting decisions, because the marriage will have its own issues, but they should present a united front when disciplining the children. And one other thing that we like to say is that the biological parent should probably, at least initially, be the primary disciplinarian until there is an adjustment where the children are
have accepted their new situation.
And it doesn't mean that parent can't give some boundaries,
Yeah.
but leave the
The
hardcore,
the heavy lifting,
the heavy lifting
to the biological
parent.
Indeed, the points that you've made are right on target. We'll be back after a short break with more questions from viewers like you. Stay with us. On today's edition of Real Family Talk, we're answering questions from viewers like you. Here's the next question.
My wife and I have been married for about 3 years and have been doing pretty well. Sometimes I feel we have become stagnated rather than growing to our full potential. Often we have difficulty balancing independence and togetherness and end up hurting each other. What can we do to make things better and experience greater relationship growth?
Wow, that's some question. Thank you for your question. You know, marriage represents a complex dynamic during which two individuals commit to a shared life journey while simultaneously maintaining their unique identities. Successfully navigating this challenging balance requires intentional strategies that respect personal growth, relational intimacy, and honoring God above all else.
Yes, I agree with everything you said. And this is always a challenge for couples, right? Because before marriage, couples can't get enough of each other.
Yes.
They want to be together all the time.
Yes.
And they don't mind it. But after a while, you begin to realize that it might feel a little heavy, right?
So there's a way of saying that in a catchy way, and that is before marriage, opposites attract. After marriage, opposites repel. You know, you can't
That
get enough
too.
of each other
That too.
before, oh, you're so different, and oh, you're so excited, but then you get together, you get married, and all of a sudden you start noticing the differences and finding a balance where you are allowing the other individual to be themselves becomes more difficult.
Yeah, and that's the challenge.
Yes.
It's the whole notion of togetherness and separateness.
Yes.
And we talk about this in marital therapy, that you have to find that balance where, yes, the Bible says two are better than one in Ecclesiastes, and that's profound. And it speaks to marriage and friendship as well,
Yes.
right? Two are better than one. If one falls, the other one can help them up. That's the beauty of marriage, right? But we also have to respect, as you said, the uniqueness of the other individual and the fact that there are times that you will have to do something separately. But it's really important for couples to understand that too much separation is not a good thing, because the whole point of getting married is for you to build a process where both of you encourage each other's personal and spiritual growth. And if we're really committed to that, then we will respect where the other person is, and we can make space
Yes.
for the other person to grow as an individual and to develop in their uniqueness. Because this whole notion of two becoming one is not one subsuming the other one.
Yes.
And too often that does happen. And people like to use
The Bible?
concept, yes, the Bible.
And God says, and a man shall leave his father and mother, and the
Yes.
two shall become one flesh. And someone said, I knew you wanted us to become one, God, but which one? Which one?
Right.
And almost in
Right.
every marriage, there's one that's a dominant one and another one that's not wanting to be dominated.
That's correct.
And
Right.
how does this look in marriage? Well, let's make it simple. We get home from work and we're tired and then no one wants to cook. And we say, oh, let's go out to dinner. And someone said, "Oh yeah, let's go out. Let's go out for Thai food." And one really loves Thai food, and the other one, well, not so much. But when they were dating, every time the other one said Thai food, they said, "Oh yeah, let's
Yes.
go for Thai food." But now you're married, and you know this is going to be for a long time, and you don't really like Thai food.
Well, we can use an example of our own marriage with the
Is
eggplant.
that what you want to do?
Yeah, with eggplant, right? Because, well, I never liked eggplant.
Oh, you didn't?
But every single time we went out to
No,
eat,
not every single time. What I remember, my recollection is that you love Italian food. And when
Yes,
I married
that's correct. Yes.
I mean, I didn't mind Italian food, but I wasn't a great Italian food person. You were. So I remember the time when,
No. So you would usually order eggplant. That was the one thing that you liked.
okay,
You
no,
liked eggplant.
no,
And so you assumed that I liked eggplant.
well, it's not so much that that's the one thing that I like. That's the one thing in that restaurant that I could eat. So it's not the only thing that I like. You see how marriage is? We
Yes.
all make
We make
assumptions.
assumptions.
We make assumptions
Right.
about the other
The
individual.
only thing you liked was eggplant.
Okay, so no, the only thing I liked was not eggplant, but here's the story. The story is that you were
I
coming.
asked you to buy some lunch for me.
Yes, and
And-
Italian.
Yes.
And I went to the Italian place and there was all kinds of stuff. And I said, oh, eggplant parmesan. Perhaps in my mind, that was my positive spin because I like eggplant
Right.
parmesan. So I got you eggplant parmesan. I didn't get it for myself. I got something else. I didn't get it for
know.
myself. So when you came and picked me up and I gave it to you and you said, oh, please drive. I'm
I was
starving.
so excited. I
I'm
wanted
starving.
to eat my food, and I just knew that you bought me something wonderful.
What did I get?
And I
What-
opened it, and it was eggplant.
And what did you say?
I said, oh my goodness, I hate eggplant. How do you not know this? We've been married
Okay,
for,
all right.
wait, how long had we been married?
About 10 years.
About 10 years.
Yeah, but here's the deal. When something like that happens, the response should not be over the top.
Well, wait.
Where you should know. No, that's a you message. We want to stay with I messages to help navigate the differences.
I will give it to you. Go ahead.
So,
go
so
ahead,
you
go
said,
ahead.
I hate,
I hate eggplant.
parmesan. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry.
You did. And so
Okay,
that's
so-
the other response.
Yes.
When your spouse doesn't respond well,
Yes.
don't overreact.
Yeah.
Just say, I'm sorry.
Yeah, don't double down.
If your spouse says, ouch,
You say, I'm
you
sorry.
say, I'm sorry.
Yes. And what did I say? Have my lunch. You know, maybe you would like something here. And I think you would like it because it didn't have eggplant parmesan. And after you said, I hate eggplant parmesan, someone who likes Italian food, I'm sure the rest of the food I had.
As long as it's not eggplant,
Correct.
I'm good.
So I gave it to you.
You did.
And voila. You know,
I still
we were
don't
back to
understand
being
why
happy.
you got me eggplant. But anyway, but that's...
So no,
but
you
you
should.
know what I appreciate? You know what was the lasting memory?
Yes.
And the point that we're ending with
Yes.
is that we need to respect each other's differences, number one. Number two, we need to be willing to apologize when our spouse is hurt. We need to be willing to listen to them because it's an opportunity for growth.
Yes, that is the bottom line. That is the point that we're making. What is that point? The point is that if you realize that your spouse wasn't on the same page with you, this is an opportunity for growth. Every crisis is an opportunity for growth. Before that day, I didn't know that Elaine hated eggplant parmesan, but now I know. So next time when she asks me to get her some Italian food, guess what? I know more about her. I won't get her eggplant parmesan. So this is the balance. This is the balance. Well, there's a lot more to talk about, but stay with us as we continue to answer questions from viewers like you. This is Real Family Talk. We'll be right back.
On today's edition of Real Family Talk, we're committed to answering questions from viewers like you. Here's the next question.
With 3 teenage children involved in multiple activities at church and school, and a very busy husband always on the go, it feels like our family connection time is constantly evaporating. The biggest offender on our time is a ringing phone that gets answered. What can we do about this dilemma?
So we really want to commend this viewer who wrote in for being proactive and wanting to reclaim her or his family bonding time. We live in a very hyper-connected world right now, and the seemingly innocent act of answering a phone or responding to notifications or checking text messages during family time has profound implications that impact the family from a biblical perspective, a sociological and psychological well-being. The compulsion to respond to every ring, every text, every notification represents a modern intrusion into sacred spaces that really deserves careful examination.
The truth is, the concept of sacred time and intentional presence resonates deeply with the teachings of Scripture. The Sabbath commandment, for example, isn't merely about rest. It's about creating protected space for communication with God and family. You know, when Jesus withdrew to quiet places or set aside time to spend with his disciples, he demonstrated the value of undivided attention in building meaningful relationships. Modern phone interruptions or notifications or text messages parallel the money changers in the temple in Matthew 21, 12 and 13, where commercial interests invaded sacred space. Just as Jesus cleared the temple to restore its holy purpose, families must protect their time from constant digital intrusion. Just because it rings doesn't mean you answer it. Just because a notification goes off doesn't mean you pay attention. In fact, turn off your notifications.
Yeah, and so we like to actually suggest to people that they have some type of rule around devices during their family time.
Whether you're eating or having
playing a
family
game
worship,
or having worship,
yes,
or just like your family meeting. Because if you notice now, even if you go to a restaurant, you'll notice that everyone has their device. The parents,
we see families all the time.
The children, and everyone has their head down. Everyone's like
down.
this. And so you know what that does?
Yes.
It's a fragmentation. That's what sociologists and psychologists call it. It's time fragmentation.
Yes.
So you've basically now devoted your time to your device as opposed to the rest of the family. So rather than us getting to know one another and spend time together
and building that relationship,
we're building other relationships.
Yes.
So one of the things that parents can do, and even if you're a single parent or you're a grandma that's raising your grandkids, it's okay for you to put a rule around family time.
Yes.
And so in our home, we have a basket.
A phone basket.
Yes, even for the two of us.
That's right.
Our children are not home now, but
Yeah.
we keep it even for us, where the phone goes in the basket
Before we sit at the dinner
before we sit at the table. And sometimes we're a little upset
Yes.
because we have things to do. But what is more important than us spending time together and interacting with each other?
That's the bottom line. No matter what situation you're in, remember the words of God in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths.
Thank you for watching Real Family Talk. Join us again when we'll share more about strengthening families and inspiring hope. See you next time.